What's up, everybody? Welcome to the third annual Knicks team preview before the season starts for the 2024-2025 season. Been doing this 3 years now. This is my third time, and I'm excited to get this season rolling. As we all know, last season was such an amazing season for the New York Knicks. Almost got to the Eastern Conference Finals, but couldn't beat the Indiana Pacers due to injuries. No excuses. We move on to this year. Crazy summer for the New York Knicks. It started with Mikal Bridges, the major trade for Mikal Bridges. Then, right before training camp, they made another major splash in acquiring Karl-Anthony Towns. And now here we are. New season, new team, a lot to talk about, so let's get going. All right, now let's talk about the New York Knicks starting five. We have Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, and Karl-Anthony Towns. Now, little bit of an assessment here during the preseason. Josh Hart had seemed a little bit lost. There was comments from him saying that he doesn't really know where his spots are on the court. He's still trying to get a feel for things and whether or not to give another person a shot in the starting lineup. Deuce McBride, we shall see. That is your starting five. That's the starting five that the New York Knicks have been putting out there. As we all know, it runs through Jalen Brunson. Just first-time All-Star last season, was an MVP candidate. As we all know, playoff Jalen Brunson is just a totally different animal. I'm expecting great things from Jalen Brunson this year. I think he can finish top 3, top 2 in MVP this season because every single season, this man just keeps on getting better and better and better. And now you pair Karl-Anthony Towns with him. I think we're in for another great season for Jalen Brunson. But, I mean, this starting five, right? It can compete with the best of them. During the preseason, they haven't found their footing yet offensively. Defensively, they've looked good, though. Karl-Anthony Towns has been, averaging double digits in rebounds, which we love to see. OG Anunoby just looks incredible during the preseason, stealing everything. His defense, as we all know, he's one of the best defenders in the league, if not the best one-on-one defender in the league. And he also makes our team defense just incredible. Regarding OG Anunoby, it's just based on health, right? We need a healthy season from OG Anunoby to kind of make this thing work. Because when OG Anunoby went down last season for the New York Knicks in the playoffs, we really didn't look the same. Offensively, defensively, it was a lot of Jalen Brunson, a lot of force feeding. And with OG Anunoby, I feel like he is the glue to all of this. Yes, we acquired Karl-Anthony Towns. Yes, we have Mikal Bridges, but OG Anunoby is so valuable for us. As we all know, when we acquired him last year, the New York Knicks were 26-5, I think, with him in the starting lineup. I shouldn't even say he's a glue guy. He's more than a glue guy, but he's just pretty much the oil that you need in the engine. I mean, he makes things run regarding this New York Knicks team. OG Anunoby just needs to stay healthy. As we all know, we know him to be a great three-point shooter. We know him to be a great defender. And, I'm expecting great things for OG Anunoby. Possible Defensive Player of the Year. I don't know. I'm excited for that. All right, so now let's get to Mikal Bridges. So, look, Mikal Bridges, I think, is going to be one of those players that's going to take some time to adjust. Mikal Bridges, during training camp, his shot was off from three-point land. His last game versus the Washington Wizards, he did not hit a three. I think it was like 0 for 10 or something like that. It seems like he's trying to adjust his shot. He's trying to tinker things. I don't personally know why he's trying to adjust his shot. Just, keep it to the shot that you were shooting with in the Phoenix days or even in the Nets days. He has sort of like a hitch to his shot, and it just hasn't worked during the preseason, but he's had good defensive games already. It's super early. I mean, I see a lot of Knicks fans judging Mikal Bridges already, and the season hasn't even started yet, but I'm trying to preach patience with everybody in the starting line, but especially Mikal Bridges. I honestly do think the Knicks will try to get Mikal Bridges going more on the offensive side with the bench unit. You're going to see a lot of Mikal Bridges, Deuce McBride, Precious Achiuwa when he's back and healthy, Jericho Sims, maybe Huck Porty, Campaign. You're going to see a lot of those lineups kind of having Mikal Bridges lead the ship because in the starting lineup, it's pretty much the Brunson and Cat show with Mikal kind of doing his thing. OG Anunoby has kind of figured out his role in that lineup, but it's going to take some time as a whole. But with Mikal, we really haven't seen an offensive burst yet. Mikal has already proven that he can average over 24 points a game. He is a great defender. He's also an Iron Man, first and foremost. Me personally, I think that Mikal needs to be better than Dante from last year. He needs to be. He needs to average more than what Dante gave us and just give us more than what Dante gave us in terms of mid-range, defense, three-point shot. It's going to be tough to catch Dante, but, Mikal can offer so much more than Dante defensively, offensively, with his post-ups, his mid-range stuff. And I think we need to get a great offensive showing from Mikal Bridges this year. That kind of like will open up things for Cat and OG Anunoby and Jalen Brunson as well. Based on what we've seen from the preseason, I'm not concerned for Mikal. I think he's going to be fine. All right, now let's transfer over to Karl Anthony Towns. Major trade the New York Knicks pulled off with the Timberwolves. Cat is now a New York Knick. Seems like he's embracing being a New York Knick. Had some great games during the preseason. We've seen what he can do. He could stretch the floor. The thing I love about Karl Anthony Towns is even though he didn't shoot the ball well during preseason, he's still giving us scoring. He's still giving us rebounding. And it seems like him and Jalen Brunson have kind of started to form some type of chemistry here. And, it's early. And that's super impressive. And that's what we like to see. His last 3 preseason games, 12 rebounds, 16 rebounds, 12 rebounds, and he's scoring 25 points, 16 points, 22 points for Cat. And that's with him not really shooting the 3 well. And we know Karl Anthony Towns to be this great elite 3-point shooter, one of the best big 3-point shooters in the league, if not the best. Shot 40 plus percent from 3 last season. You're going to see more of that. His shot will fall. Can he fall in love with his 3 a little bit? Yes, but he can do many things. He could post up, he can cut to the basket, grab some offensive rebounds, which we've seen, and he could pass the ball. His underrated part of Karl Anthony Towns' game, to me, is his passing, and the Knicks will need that now that Isaiah Hartenstein is in OKC. So Karl Anthony Towns can kind of fill that void a little bit with the passing and whatnot. So I do think he can be an all-star this year. And I think that him and Jalen Brunson can average close to 50-plus points a game combined together. And the New York Knicks will need that. And, everyone else just fits their role around them. But I think this Knicks offense runs through Cat and runs through Jalen Brunson, and everything else around them will fit into place. All in all, Cat is signed for the next few years. Brunson is signed for the next few years. So it will take some time for them to form chemistry, but during the preseason, we saw them already. Pick and roll stuff, Brunson finding him with the slip passes. As time goes on, those guys will become comfortable. I think that Cat ultimately being a New York Knick, new team, he's happy to be back home where he belongs, and I'm excited for Karl Anthony Towns this season. All right, now let's get to Josh Hart. So we don't know if Josh Hart is going to sustain being a Knicks starter. He's already been chirping a little bit, talking a little bit, frustrated with his role. To me personally, Josh Hart belongs on the bench. He's not a starter. He can start. I mean, he's shown that he can start with the New York Knicks team, but I personally want to see Josh Hart on the bench. But with this Precious Achiuwa injury, in case you don't know, he's out 2 to 4 weeks to start the season. I think it gives the New York Knicks kind of more of a reason to put Josh Hart on the bench, because now you kind of need more rebounding on the bench. And that's sort of like the reason why Josh Hart is in the starting lineup, in my opinion. He pushes the pace and he grabs rebounds. And with the absence of Randle and Hartenstein, New York Knicks will take a step back in terms of rebounding. So Josh Hart in the starting lineup can kind of make up for a percentage of that, but not make up for the whole percentage of that, if that makes sense. But in the preseason, he just looks off, and he said it himself. But we all know Josh Hart to be the heart and soul of the New York Knicks team. I mean, last year in the playoffs, he was great. Sealed the deal versus 76ers, hitting a great 3-point shot. 2 seasons ago versus Cleveland Cavaliers, game 1, hit a big shot as well. He's clutch. He hits big shots, and he is the heart and soul of the team. It will take some time. I'm not worried about it. I personally would like to see Deuce in that starting lineup, because that just would open up everything. I mean, Deuce is a great catch and shoot 3-point shooter, great all-around player, plays defense, can push the pace like Hart. And we saw lineups of Brunson and Deuce last year that were off the charts. They worked. Brunson loves playing with Deuce McBride. Are the New York Knicks a little bit on the smaller side if that happens? Yeah, they are, but I think offensively, that's going to be one of the toughest lineups to guard if you put Deuce McBride in that starting lineup. But Hart, I think, belongs on the bench. I think he will thrive on the bench due to these injuries. I mean, Mitchell Robinson out till January. Precious Achiuwa now, 2 to 4 week injury. New York Knicks are going to have to mix and match. They lost Landry Shamet, waived Landry Shamet. So the bench is going to have to, be tinkered with a little bit. It's going to be interesting what direction Tom Thibodeau goes, and I guess now we can transfer over to the bench. So Precious Achiuwa out 2 to 4 weeks. That is a blow. New York Knicks open. The first 10 games are going to be tough for the New York Knicks, but Precious is going to be absolutely huge for us coming in off that bench. I mean, 6'9" forward, just a jack of all trades. It's shown us these preseason games that he can hit shots, rebound, drive to the basket, dunk on people. So when Precious gets back, it's going to be a relief for this New York Knicks team. But now without Precious for the first month of the season, Possibly. I don't know who steps up. Sims, Hukporti, we saw great things from Hukporti. Now those guys have to play. Sims is going to play. Hukporti, in my opinion, kind of has to play. Does Daddier get some time? Daddier, these last two preseason games, impressed me, showed me a lot. Campaign is going to play a lot. Deuce McBride, do the Knicks start Deuce, or does he come off the bench? But if Deuce is on the bench, 6th man of the year, I think he can win this year. Deuce McBride took a major step last year. I think this year is going to be more of the same, if not better. Knicks have Deuce McBride on a very team-friendly contract. His growth over these last couple of years have been amazing, but this bench is going to be intriguing. It's going to be, fun to kind of watch the Knicks coaching staff kind of work their way through it. Do the Knicks kind of stagger Bridges? They sub Bridges out first and they put him in with the bench, or do they sub Cat out and they put Cat in with the bench? Do they go a 9-man rotation? Do they go a 10-man rotation? Do they go 8-man rotation until Precious Achiuwa comes back? Does Tom Thibodeau have enough trust in Hukporti? Does he have enough trust in Daddier? These are all the things that I'm going to be wondering and going to be very intrigued to watch during these first 5 games of the season. Tyler Kolek, the Knicks rookie, has shown some great things during the preseason. I honestly think we're going to see, now with all of these injuries, you're going to see a Kolek. You're probably going to see Hukporti. I mean, you're running out of bodies. So these guys have shown us in the preseason that they can ball. And Kolek and Hukporti have chemistry together. So in my opinion, I would go that route. I would play Hukporti more. I would play Kolek a little bit more. Kind of switch it up a little bit until Precious comes back. Going into the season, from the outside looking in, that was the Knicks' weakness from the NBA and the analysts or the world, is their depth. Losing Dante, losing Randall, losing Hartenstein, Mitchell Robinson's gone till January. Everyone is questioning the Knicks' depth. Well, during the preseason, they've shown that, some guys can step up. But regular season is a whole different story, and it's just going to have to be something that we see, that I see with my 2 eyes. Can Campaign sustain his success? I'm not worried about Deuce. I think he will win 6th man of the year this year if he was to come off the bench. Jericho Sims, does he kind of stay the same like he's been during these couple of years with the Knicks and kind of just not show us any growth, but, just be that big body because we need bodies? These are the things that are going to be interesting for, this Knicks team, and these are the things that I'm going to be intrigued to watch. But all in all, I've heard it all this preseason, from fans. I don't feel the same about this Knicks team like I felt in the past. Those are, the comments that I'm getting from you fans, and I get it. But what I would say to you guys is that it's going to take some time for things to click. And I think once Mitchell Robinson comes back, I know that's kind of like blind faith. I think that kind of opens things up and frees everything and, gives the Knicks many more options in that regard. But it's going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight. The first 10 games for the New York Knicks are tough. I'm not going to be one to quick to judge, but I want to give this like a 10-game, 15-game sample size before I kind of judge anything. I want to see if Mikel's shot improves. I want to see the growth of Anunoby, Brunson, Cat. I want to see the growth of them. I want to see this bench, but the injuries are a little bit of a concern. The depth is a little bit of concern, in my opinion. At the end of the day, like Jalen Brunson says, no excuses. We play with who we have, and we go from there. But I'm excited for this season. I truly am. But when it's all said and done, when playoffs start, I think the New York Knicks will finish top 3 in the Eastern Conference. I'm calling for that. I hope they do. And I think they could push going to the Eastern Conference Finals. In my opinion, you need to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals this year. You've kind of, made these major trades. You need to show that, these trades have kind of justified you giving up, a lot of these assets, picks, first-round picks, Dante going to Minnesota. I want to see the Knicks finally get over the hump and make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. Get me past 2 rounds, and then it's house money from there. In my opinion. Anything other than the Eastern Conference Finals, I will be disappointed, me personally. Now, I have to see how it looks, but I want to see them in the Eastern Conference Finals. Anything other than that, in my opinion, will be a disappointing. That's just my opinion. Give me your opinion in the comments below. At the end of the day, I'm excited for this next season. I truly believe we can compete with the best of the best, and it all comes down to the New York Knicks and the Boston Celtics. And you could say the 76ers as well. I'm excited to watch this thing grow. I'm excited to watch this chemistry brew in the pot. And I'm not worried about Bridges. I'm excited for it all. Let me know in the comments below your prediction for this season. What do you think of this Knicks team? Good or bad? Do you have the same connection that you do with this team compared to last year? I know a lot of Knicks fans, it doesn't feel like it. but it's just preseason. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Knicks season preview, third annual Knicks season preview. This is my third time doing this. And look, third year on YouTube. I appreciate every single one of you tuning into the post games, the live streams, the podcasts. I truly thank every single one of you tuning in, supporting me, supporting Knicks Nation. This is just the beginning. I've been saying it for forever now. I wouldn't be able to do this if it wasn't for your support. So I love the Knicks. You love the Knicks. And we just want one thing, an NBA championship. I'm Anthony from Knicks Nation. I'll catch you guys next time. As always, let's go Knicks. Peace.